I must hack the University of Virginia's computer systems to change the grades for the best football players, which will make them ineligible for the game on Saturday. Ah, yes, I've done it. My work here is complete. Ha 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 ha. Ha 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 ha.
What's going on, Canes fans? What a crazy 7 days or so it's been for me. I don't think that I could have picked a better game to go to. And what an amazing experience it was getting to meet so many of you, putting a face with the profile picture, getting to actually walk up and shake your hand. I met so many of you guys at the Caneswear meetup, the tailgate during the game against Clemson. It was just all around a great experience, and it was one that I will never forget. And oh yeah, did I mention? We got the win. But it's time to move on to the next opponent, and Miami is about to take on a Virginia team that just beat North Carolina 31-27 last week. But before we dive into this preview, I must remind you that this is the final week. I'm talking this is the last stretch here to order your Don't Be a Fan Later limited edition t-shirts. You have until October 31st to place your orders. After that, Coop literally cannot help you. If you message me on November 1st and you say, Coop, I forgot. I remembered I need to order one of those t-shirts. Coop, help me out. I can't. I literally can't help you. You have the rest of this week and then 2 or 3 days next week to order these. October 31st is the cutoff. I'm telling you, super limited edition. I very rarely sell these t-shirts. Click the link in my description or the link in my pinned comment to pick one up. And also, don't forget, everything is back to normal this week, so I will be live during the game, and I will have links to watch it for free if you need that. And of course, we will be doing the live call-in show the night before on Friday night at 9 p.m. Eastern Time, and the $300 score prediction contest is still active. So all you got to do is call into the show during the live stream, predict the correct score for the Miami versus Virginia game. You win $300. So what's actually going on with this Virginia Cavaliers team? Just a few weeks ago, they were 0-5. They literally hadn't won a single football game. Now it seems like they might be finding their footing a bit, and they've won 2 in a row. I will say that they've definitely found their quarterback in Tony Muskett. This is a guy that they picked up through the transfer portal, and he brings a lot of experience, and he's great at extending plays. They also have a pair of running backs that love to pick up yards after contact, and Holland specifically has a nose for the end zone when in the red zone. Their head coach, Tony Elliott, is in his second year, and even though overall the team hasn't impressed so far this season, they did show some resiliency in that UNC game, because at one point in the third quarter, they were down 24-14, and they found a way to come back and beat the number 10 team in the country. One thing that's definitely hurting this Cavaliers team quite a bit, however, is missed tackles. Just look at the stats. Now, speaking on Miami for a moment, at the time of filming this video, Mario Cristobal has said that quarterback Tyler Van Dyke will be ready to play against Virginia. Now, again, just keeping in mind that that is at the time of filming this video. Anything could happen between now and then during practice, but he did miss last week against Clemson. And, there's been talks on how injured is he, or there's been talks of he's not really injured. He's just kind of hurt and banged up, and football is a physical sport, so guys play banged up all the time. We all know that Mario Cristobal likes to keep injuries and things kind of behind closed doors. He doesn't really elaborate or dive deep into it, and understandably so, right? But at the time of filming, he says TVD is going to be ready to rock. And man, oh man, was it fun to watch defensive coordinator Lance Guidry mix in both some 4-2-5 and 3-3-5 against Clemson. I would love to see more of that this week because it worked really well. The Canes absolutely dominated in the trenches, and they're going to look to continue that trend this week as UVA is giving up an average of 172 rushing yards per game. But we all know that the 2023 college football season has been very difficult to predict. We're talking about a Miami Hurricanes team that lost to UNC by 10, and then that same UNC team lost to a one-win UVA team by 4. It doesn't make any sense. But anyways, let's take a quick look at the history between these two teams. Miami and Virginia have faced off 20 times in total, with the Canes leading the series 12-8. The most recent matchup was last year, and Miami won in a close one, 14-12. And if I'm not mistaken, I believe that was the one that went to quadruple overtime. And now let's take a look at some average stats so far this season. Coming into this matchup, Virginia is averaging 24 points per game and Miami 36. Points allowed against them per game, Virginia 31, Miami a very respectable 19. Average yards gained per game so far this season, UVA 362, Miami 482. And yards allowed against them, Virginia 396, Miami 314. Next up, I'll cover 3 keys to a victory in this one, and let's kick it off with the Miami Hurricanes. Coming in at number 1, continue to find ways to involve wide receiver Brashard Smith even more. This guy is just too explosive to not be getting the ball in his hands more often. He's a heck of a speed player, and if you let him get in the open field, he's gone. Number 2, Miami needs to just straight up bully Virginia in the trenches. Carry over that mindset and aggressiveness from the Clemson game. I know some of y'all heard what Ruben Baines said about what they wanted to do in that one. If you don't know, just ask in the comments and I'm sure someone can quote him for you. Both of Virginia's QBs have been sacked a total of 24 times. Time for our guys to feast, play violent on Saturday. And lastly, win the time of possession battle. Miami's defense is pretty good as long as they don't get stuck on the field for the entire game. This really showed last week as a lot of those guys still had plenty of gas in the fourth quarter. As long as they get time to rest, they're good to go. They will play well. And now 3 keys to a victory for the Cavaliers in this one. And coming in at number 1, wide receiver Malik Washington has to put on a show once again and not disappear going up against Miami's secondary. This guy puts out unreal production week after week. He transferred from Northwestern and has totaled 56 catches for a whopping 783 yards and 6 touchdowns so far this season. He's actually the 5th most productive wide receiver in the country and is the Cavaliers' best deep threat. Number 2, Virginia's defense needs to rack up some sacks in this game. So far throughout this entire season, you only have 7, and Miami's O-line has been playing very well. And lastly, you just got to play with confidence. The Cavaliers just beat the number 10 team in the country, and to be fair, out of your 3 total ACC games so far, the other 2 that you lost to NC State and Boston College were both only by 3 points. Come out and be confident in this game. And now it's time for everyone's favorite segment of the video. The most skipped to part of the video actually is what YouTube tells me, which is why I like to insert an ad, right around in here, right before I give my numbers, my score prediction for this game. But first, before we dive into it, you guys know I always like to take a quick look at the ESPN matchup predictor. They have, at the time of filming this video, Miami's win percentage chance coming in at 91.5% and Virginia at 8.5%. And currently on FanDuel, they have the Canes listed as an 18.5 point favorite, with the over-under coming in at right around 46.5 points. Now, just keep in mind with all of those numbers that's at the time of filming. So those could fluctuate throughout the week as the game gets closer. Now, with all of that being said, you guys know that last week I predicted a win against Clemson, which shocked a lot of people. including the doctor scientist guy that I hired to analyze my score predictions. He did not approve at all. He told me it was absolutely insane for me to come out and predict Miami to beat a team that they hadn't beaten in 13 years, that the numbers said Miami couldn't do it. He tried to tell me the numbers don't lie. Coop, it's impossible. But I went with my brain. I went with what I knew was going to happen, and we ended up being right over the doctor scientist guy, and I pay him a lot of money. So with that being said, I fired him. This is a cutthroat business, and it had to be done. It is what it is. Now, luckily, he does have a twin brother who just so happens to also be a doctor and a scientist. I'm just hoping a much better one. So let's check in. Well, hello there, Coop's college football family. I'm sure you guys are very well aware of my brother, who Coop has now fired. There's a reason why I was always Mom's favorite. As you can see, I am also both a scientist and a doctor, and I'm here in the operating room this afternoon about to perform a surgery. But Coop offered me, well, a lot of money to go through and analyze his score predictions each week. And you guys probably remember my brother as the doctor scientist guy, but I have no shame. I will share my name with you. I think we should be on a name-to-name basis, and all of my patients call me Dr. Pepper because I am, in fact, a physician. But with all of that being said, let's get down to business. This is my side hustle. My previous side hustle was selling a particular service on Craigslist. They have since shut down that portion of the website. So here we are, and I am now working with Coop as my new side hustle. So I want to kick it off with a bang. I'm here looking to impress this guy. And with that being said, I really crunched these numbers. And when I say I crunched them hard. And I'm here to tell you that Coop's score prediction for this game has officially been approved. I would also like to add, I'm a very humble man, but I am also a very talented man. I play 9 instruments very, very well. I actually used to play for this big orchestra. You've probably heard of them. There's no reason for me to name drop, but I would like to go ahead and play a little song here for the loser that Coop is picking. I'm not going to spoil anything, but for the loser, this is for you. So as you can see, we've broke out the Miami Hurricanes 2023 score prediction board because you guys know I don't run and we never hide from score predictions. This way, instead of having to go back and watch the videos each week, we have a collection of all of my score predictions with the prediction there and the outcome on the other side. So you can critique it and we can break it down and talk about what I got right and what I didn't get right. Now, as you can see, look, Coop doesn't like to boast. Okay, you guys know that. I try to be a fairly humble dude. But we've been doing pretty darn well this season with the score predictions. My record right now is 5-2, same as the Miami Hurricanes. I got the Texas A&M game wrong, and I got the Georgia Tech game wrong. But even in the ones we got wrong, if you'll take a look at the numbers here, they've been fairly close. And we've hit the nail on the head with the exact score for Miami and the opponent several times. We just haven't been able to piece it all together to get it perfect. And of course, we've got the Clemson prediction that we had from last week. Coop saying 24-20, outcome being 28-20. But that's not what you're here for, right? You're here to see what the prediction is for this game against the Virginia Cavaliers. And I'm happy to tell you that I've been thinking long and hard about this one, and I'm pretty darn confident in this week's score prediction. So with that being said, I have the Miami Hurricanes putting up 34, and the Virginia Cavaliers scoring 17. Let's make it officially official. Put the big green W here beside the numbers. Boy, somehow those numbers just keep kind of shifting. The W's are changing sizes. It's just an absolute mess over there. But I got Miami improving to 6-2, winning the game 34-17. And look, I realize that lots of people are going to mention the North Carolina game. But Coop, Virginia beat them and they beat us. So now I'm worried. Calm down. All you got to do is look around college football and you will find that there's not a lot of consistency out there. I don't believe that the Cavaliers have suddenly turned a corner just because they beat the North Carolina Tar Heels. I think that they played a good game against UNC. There's no denying that, and they did enough to get the win. But they're going to get absolutely manhandled in the trenches this week against Miami. It's going to be night and day. They've not faced an O-line or a D-line like what they're about to see. I don't think that this one will necessarily be close. I think that the spread and the over-under is actually fairly accurate this week going into this one. But as we just said, the season has been inconsistent for the most part. We've seen lots of crazy scenarios and different scores and things. I mean, nobody thought we were going to drop the game to Georgia Tech either. So, of course, you don't sleep on anyone, but I don't believe that this team, that this coaching staff, any of those guys involved with the program are going to do that. I think that the Clemson game got Miami back on track mentally. The team realizes that there is still a lot of potential there and plenty to play for. And I got a big fat dub against Virginia at Hard Rock this Saturday. Give me the Canes in this one. Let me know your score predictions down below. Come on. Don't be shy. Let's chop it up. Let's talk about it. Don't forget to order your Don't Be a Fan Later t-shirts. Link in the description, in the pinned comment. Don't forget, Friday night call-in show, Saturday afternoon for the game. I'll see you there. Remember, though, guys, we're all one big happy college football family, but at the end of the day, I got to say, it's always better when you get to rep the U. Coach Coop, peace out. I'll see y'all in the next one.